Hi everybody, welcome to the Embrace the Journey channel. I'm T. Walton. Normally we do all kinds of videos on this channel, but this one I'm going to do photography. Keep in mind, I'm not a professional photographer by any stretch of the imagination, just kind of a hobbyist photographer. But on this one I'm going to talk about the Nikon Z 6.2 camera. And this particular lens, which is the 50mm macro lens. And I'm going to use it and do some photos of some Christmas scenes, some figurines. My lighting is going to consist of these two things. These are USB computer lights. And I put some filters, some film on there, green and blue. That's kind of Christmas colors. Thought that would work. I'll take you through my settings, how I did it, and what I'm going to concentrate on is focus stacking, which is inside that camera, and I'll show you how that works. Hope you enjoy this one. Let me know. This is the Nikon 50mm macro lens. Here's what makes it macro, is this switch right here. When you push it over here, you're in macro mode. When I'm going to do auto stacking, you keep your focus on automatic. You don't go to manual. And you hit the focus stacking operation in this camera and away you go. Here's a tip though, if you've got one of these lenses, or you're getting one of these lenses. After you get done with your photography in the macro, and if you pull your camera off the tripod and you go to shoot something else, it's also a good portrait lens, you notice it's not focusing on anything and you think the lens is broke, because that's actually happened to me. Well, what you got to do is you got to pull this button back to full, and then you're off and ready to go. So remember that. When you get the lens, it says that it comes with a lens hood. And when I first got it, I couldn't find the lens hood. Well, actually, this small ring here, that comes in the box, and you just screw it on the lens, and that is the lens hood, and it operates perfectly. To get over to the stacking mode, you hit the eye information button, and that gives you a variety of options to choose from. You go over to focus, hit OK. And that sets you up with the focus shifting mode. You want to put in the number of shots that you're going to use, the width of the focus, whether it's going to be really narrow or if it's going to get wide, you want to put that in there. You always want to have the camera on silent photography. Have that on and make sure that you're in automatic mode so it can focus on its own. You don't want to put it in manual mode. And then once you're all set, you move up to start, you hit the OK button, and it'll start going through the sequences of shots. Once it's all done, you take your pictures and throw them in a program, whatever program you have. I use Photoshop, and process them from there. And I'll show you how they turned out. Closest object to the camera is the boy and the dog on the bench. So that's what I'm going to focus on. And then I'm going to set my focus stacking for 6 photographs. That'll slowly go back and hopefully put the rest of the picture in focus. So there it is. I'm going to do a 1/3 shutter speed and f8. My ISO is at 160. Okay, there's the menu, and I'm going to go over to where it says focus. I'm going to click that on. That brings this focus shift shooting menu up, and as you can see, I'm going to do 6 shots with a focus depth width of 5. I'll hit the start button and see how it turns out. In this one, I put a block behind the white kind of cotton cloth, so it looks like Santa's coming down a hill. This time we're going to focus on Santa's boots and say the closest thing, and let the focus stacking go backwards. All right, so there we are. That's our settings. I'll hit it up, focus stack them, we'll see how it comes out. So let's see how we do on this one. This will be a fun one. Nice little setup. Change the settings a little bit here. I went to 1/6 on the shutter speed, f8, and I dropped the ISO down to 125. Let's see how this turns out. And that's the scene that I'm going to photograph now. The family building a snowman, a tree with lights blinking on the back. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out on a still photo. And I'll show you the settings. So here's a different scene, the family building a snowman. I'm going to do with 1/6 of a second, f8, with an ISO of 125. So let's see how this one turns out. Once again, I'm going to do 6 shots. My focus step width is at 5. That kind of gives me a little more distance between each photo. And we'll start her up. Now it's shooting 6 photographs, one after the other, with its focusing going back. And what I did is I focused on, whoops, on the kids' legs because they were the closest, and then the focus will go back. So that's the Nikon Macro 50mm lens. Beautiful lens. Does great macro work. You don't have to do figurines. You can do a whole lot of different things. I photographed leaves and buds and flowers, and it's just a real sharp, crisp lens. Not only is it good for macro, but it's good for portraits. Last week I was photographing Santa and Santa dogs, and they all came out nice. Not that expensive. A nice lens to have for your Nikon Z platform. I highly recommend it, and you'll enjoy it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again next week.